Yoo-hoo! I'll make you famous.
Good morning, Vietnam! Hey, this is not a test. This is rock and roll.
I love jelly beans. Can I please?
No, you can't have any fucking jelly beans!
It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
There'll be no rest for the
Twisted.
What was that?
Just a zombie.
Just a zombie?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting episode of No Rest for the Twisted, the podcast. I am your host, Zombie Torres, and my lovely co-host,
Jellybean.
Jellybean. Before we go on with today's topic, I just want to remind the audience how we met. This happened many, many moons ago when I was walking down the street with my heterosexual life mate, Val, and we were talking about chicks, and I was like, dude, like, big-titted chicks don't fall from the sky. And a second later, like, boom, you, like, fall from the sky.
And jumped up and said, isn't it ironic?
Yes, and weren't you, like, jumping out of the second-story window from, like, your apartment because you were trying to get away from your, like, husband or some shit?
Yeah, actually. It was... I had to go through some shit, you know, and I just decided, hey, I can fly.
But didn't you say you, like, drank your Red Bull and you're like, I have wings now?
Yep. And, you know, I flew directly into your life.
You sure did. And that is how we met. True story.
Actual, factual, true story.
You don't have to Google it or nothing. It happened in real life.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you want to tell the audience what we're going to talk about today?
So today, normally we do like where we each bring a couple different topics, but this week we're actually going to be talking about the documentary series Shiny Happy People, which is available on Amazon Prime. And there's the second season was just released, and so it covers a lot of relative topics stemming from fundamental Christianity, which, given everything that's gone on with Charlie Kirk recently and you know, the orange Cheeto, that, you know, it's really relevant what's covered in all of that. So we're going to kind of digest both the first and second seasons and tie it into what's going on in the world today.
Well, alrighty then. Obviously, we won't tell you everything about the documentaries. I feel that's something that you should watch on your own. But we will obviously cover some topics or subjects and shit. Now, did you ever watch the Duggars on TV?
I did not watch the Duggars at the time because I am birthing adverse, so the concept of having hordes of children did not appeal to me. And I feel like this documentary only confirmed that belief.
Yeah, the one thing about this because there is footage of the mom talking about how she doesn't want transgender people in the same bathroom that her daughters are in because they're gonna touch, you know, these little kids and shit. When in reality, they were as the kids say nowadays, the call is coming from inside the house, you know. So it's kind of like, you know, hypocrisy at its, or Christian hypocrisy at its best. You know, I did watch the show because I'm very fascinated with cults and religions, and this was just a fucking cult from the beginning. I believe, you know.
Yes.
And if you watch the documentary again, everything fucking ties with each other. You know, these fucking quote unquote religious old white men who want to control women and their fucking bodies, and I mean, I feel it's disgusting, you know. But I when I watch this show, I always wonder, like, dude, like, these kids are just being fucked, because it's like they're not gonna know, you know, basic, you know, shit that,
Right.
you know, like how to, you know, sex wise. Like, dude, you put a bunch of fucking a lot of people in the same house and tell them no touching, no masturbating. It's like, I feel like weird shit's gonna happen. You know what I mean?
Right. It's very Flowers in the Attic.
Thank you. Very, very Flowers in the Attic. And for those of you who do not know what that is,
Because you're not as old as us.
although there was a remake, a modern remake, on Lifetime with God, what's her, Roller Girl? What's her name?
Oh, yeah, her.
Oh my god, I can't think of her name. But yes, there is
I can't think of her
there's
name either.
a modern version of Flowers in the Attic on the Lifetime Plus or something.
And as my illustrious host started to describe, Flowers in the Attic was a book written by V.C. Andrews about children who, a brother, a sister, and I think it was a younger sister.
Yeah, it was twins. Remember the twins?
Where they were literally locked in an attic, and
By their evil grandmother.
by their evil grandmother, and they were teenagers who were coming about as teenagers, and if you think this is going in a disturbing way, it really, really is. It's even more disturbing than you could picture. But yeah, so you know,
There's a lot of books written by her, by the way.
yeah,
It's it's like, yeah, it's like a series. But Flowers in the
a lot
Attic.
of books that say V.C. Andrews really needed therapy.
Yes. So yeah, so you're right. That was a very great analogy. It is very Flowers in the Attic, you know. So I mean, I've always believed, like, you know, like the Catholic Church, the priests are not allowed to get married. Same thing with the nuns. But human biology says we need that sexual release. You know, that's why
Right.
you have wet dreams and your body changes, and like, this is human fucking biology.
So let's talk about real quick before we start going into that, because the two seasons of the show are although they are tied together, are very different.
Very different.
So the first season of the show, Shining Happy People, focuses on the Duggar family, which came to fame during the rise of reality TV, and especially reality TV for people who read a lot. And there was a show that started, I think it was like 17 kids and counting when it started, and then they just kept counting. So the first season of the show talks about the kind of darkness behind that family and their religious beliefs and things of that nature. And although we're not going to, again, like Zombie said, we're not going to give away everything. We are starting to talk about how kind of fucked up the whole concept of why they were such a large family to begin with was. And really at the core of it, as I talk about it, it was, you know, male manipulation at its best, trying to control, like you were saying, controlling women, and, you know, men just spreading their seed, for lack of a better terminology. So, as you were.
Well, I was gonna point out that it wasn't just, like, especially with the Duggar family in itself, like, the dad just fucked his children, like, you know how he made the
Not literally.
not literally, but like, he did have his kids
fundamentally
like sign like a contract, and pretty much like basically saying, like, everything you make, anything you make is mine, You know,
So it was a slow evolution to that. Um, when so they yes, like towards the end, you really see just how bad it gets. But the whole thing is it starts with the fundamental belief that um for God you give, you have as many kids as you can, which is why they kept procreating. And then as they kept procreating and getting as big as they did, that's when the show came about. And once the show came about, that's where the collective fucking of the children, as it was, started happening. They, like you were saying, you know, not letting them like be out in the world, that's really where it came from.
pretty much, yeah. Like, and these people, I think there was one time they were allowed to wear pants because normally they're not allowed. And this is
The
from
girls are
watching the
not
show.
allowed. Yeah.
Like there was an episode where they went skydiving, and
Yeah.
I remember the mom said like, "Oh, well, normally we don't wear pants, but obviously you got to wear that jumpsuit kind of thing, to jump out of an airplane." And yeah, so she mentioned that was like the first time they've ever worn pants in their whole lives, if I remember correctly. And it was just like, how fucking weird is that? You know, that you're kind of like, well, no, women don't wear pants. It's like they're fucking pants, dude. Like
Yeah, I
I
mean
don't see what the
it's
big
that Christian fundamentalist fucking belief that you've got to adhere to like these certain rules in order, to give glory to God or whatever the fuck. And yeah, and it clearly went from being giving glory to God to just like a power trip. And so part of that power trip was like, you know what? We're gonna say your hair has to look a certain way. And like that poor girl with the curling of her hair for hours every day just because her dad liked her hair curled.
right. And
Like it's just a power. Ugh. Anyways, continue.
no, it really is, and I think that's what it is. It's like these people are very, um, I mean, obviously they're not fucking right in the head. I think they're
Yeah,
fucking obviously.
they're not exactly pictures of mental health.
Now, okay, so you know me, dude. We've had discussions, and I'm like, we've come to terms that I am a pretty disturbed, fucked up individual, you know.
Mm.
But it's
Just
kind,
touch.
but like, dude, I'll fucking know that shit. I'm like, yeah, dude, I'm into some weird shit, but I would never, ever intentionally hurt somebody, especially
Right.
fucking children, you know. And I don't know. It's just I've always been the live and let live. If it doesn't affect you, don't fuck. Like stay in your fucking lane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As long as you're not hurting anybody, like stay in your fucking lane. You know, like
Right.
like how is some guy in West Hollywood sucking dick affect the preacher in fucking Alabama? Like
Exactly.
like
Exactly. Like, how are two people getting married that you've never met in your entire life that have nothing to do with you? How does that change your marriage?
we'd like to know, really. I mean, I've never understood
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah, I just don't get it. Oh, it's being forced upon us. Really? Really? If it's being forced upon you, then you're gay. You're getting a gay marriage because it's being forced upon you. So are you on your way to the altar currently? Like, yeah.
Exactly. So, and then I'd like to point out another thing that a lot of these Christian nationalists who invaded the Capitol on January 6th, how many of them have been fucking arrested for child pornography or sexual abuse on children?
Right.
Again, kids, the call is coming from inside the house, you know. And I'm going to segue to this because we were talking about this earlier. A couple days ago, the website Politico discovered these texts like they were going through young Republicans, and a lot of them were very racist as fuck. And, you know, where they're like talking about gas chambers and gassing like the people that don't vote for them, and how Hitler was, you know, they love Hitler and shit. And JD Vance came out saying, "Oh, these were fucking kids. It's just locker room talk, blah 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 blah." And I'm like, bull fucking shit. If this was Democrats or whatever, they would have had a fucking field day.
Oh yeah.
And so talking shit about murdering people or gassing, and these are the leaders that were elected. I think one of them was a senator or something, and he's calling them kids when they're like, dude, they're like in their fucking late 20s. They're not fucking kids. They're not fucking 15. You're talking about fucking grown ass adults. But if you fucking, God forbid, say something negative about fucking racist piece of shit Charlie Kirk, oh my God, we're gonna send ICE to your fucking house. You know, like, fuck you. You can't have it both ways. Rant over. I just wanted to, you know, say my
Rant
piece
pause.
on.
Rant is not over.
Rant paused. Yeah, but yeah, that's what's going on in the world today. And
So yeah, so getting back to the Duggars, you know, like, the thing is that when you have these kind of radicalized points of view, you know, it's easy for people to get swept up in it. And the thing that was the most dangerous, besides the danger to their children, was that once, you know, the father, was it Jim
Bob.
Jim Bob, which, not loving him using the initials JB, by the way.
Wait, before you go on, can I just point out one thing? Why do these fucking people look so fucking vanilla nerdy? Like,
yeah,
I mean,
it's always the same looking people.
I mean, do they shop at like Kmart or something? You know, like
they do shop at Walmart
or Wal.
that is accurate.
I mean, it's like, well, Jim Bob, I need some new trousers. Yeah, you know.
Trousers.
Like, I'm gonna buy some new unmentionables. And
also, yeah, sorry.
I was gonna say, I look, I've never seen this man in underwear, but I'm willing to bet the farm that this man wears tidy whities.
Tidy whities. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah, but so what I was going to say is, like, so once they kind of got notoriety and were on the show, like, these ideals, these Christian fundamentalist ideals that they're pushing about, you know, what a family's supposed to look like, and how, you know, it's, you know, how you're supposed to, you know, obey your husband, and, like, basically women are just meant for men's, you know, whatever it is, like, you know. And there's examples in the show of how, like, one of the daughters that kind of defected, so, like, the kids weren't allowed to ever be alone with somebody else, right? Like, on a date or whatever it is. They weren't even allowed to kiss until they got married.
That's right. They needed a
chaperone.
I was gonna say. Oh my God, I'm fucking tired. I was gonna say chauffeur and a chaperone.
Not so much with the words today.
I got home late last night, so.
We'll talk about that later. Anyways, you can edit that out. So,
all right.
So anyway, so, like, you know, not allowing kids to even kiss until they get married obviously leads to some very early fucking marriages, right? Not because they're so in love with each other and this is what they want to do, it's because they want to fuck. And so it's just like, okay, well, we're gonna get married. And so these two kids got engaged. Like, I think she was like 17 and he was a few years older, if I'm remembering correctly. But after they got engaged, and, like, the video of them, like, celebrating the engagement, you can hear someone in the background being like, okay, so who's going to volunteer to chaperone them? Like, these kids are fucking engaged and they still need chaperones. And like, it's just that kind of manipulation and control that, appeals to certain people,
But
like
I also feel it's a fucking tactic trying to be like, hey, even if we're not around, we have eyes on you, so don't fucking do anything.
Oh, right, exactly. And that's the thing is, so, you know, again, as the show got more and more notoriety, these ideals that Jim Bob had created and, had all these other people on board with, the people from their church and everything, like, they created this, like, kind of mass appeal, like when they are talking about why people watch these shows, and that it's like this fantasy of these people that have this perfect life, that they never argued, that everybody got along and everything was fucking rainbows and unicorns, and like that's why they were all homeschooled and all of that stuff, and these kids were just deprived of fundamental things growing up because that's the only way they could keep them in check, but on TV it appeared these happy families that knew exactly what they were doing, and because they were this happy family that knew what they were doing, like it was very easy for them to get, followers of people who wanted to live life like that. And so, as the money kept coming in and the show kept getting bigger and everything, like that's when uh like like you were talking about the contracts, where like they basically made these kids sign their whole lives away, that everything that they like, anything related to the show or their families or whatever, was property of TLC. And yeah, it is really horrible, and like hearing these kids like recount their experiences, like you can just hear the pain.
Now, if I remember correctly, the daughter that defected, or the couple that defected, um,
Hmm.
if again, it's been a while since I saw that episode. So, if I remember correctly, didn't the daughter and the husband, like, weren't they like done with it? They're like, they were ready to walk away, and TLC said, "No, no, no, you still owe us like
Yep.
a certain amount of episodes." And they're like,
Yeah, and they got tricked into signing those contracts.
"Right,
They didn't even know that's what they were signing. It was the day. Oh, it was the day they got married.
that's right, that's right." And it was the dad who then he's the one that wrote up the contract,
Hmm.
or had something written. But yeah, so basically their
Right.
dad used his fucking kids as cash cows.
Yeah, he took all the money. The kids, none of the kids saw a single cent from anything that they made from that show. The dad took all of it.
Now I wonder, this just popped in my head, but I wonder if the kids on reality shows, since they're minors, have the same rights as like child actors, considering it is television, it is entertainment. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. But I mean, they, again, like the dad tricked him into this, signing this kind of stuff. So like, but they are at the whims of like their parents in those situations, because the parents that are having their kids on these shows are really the masters of the manipulation and the abuse and like all of that stuff. So like they're only, like, they're gonna take all of their kids' rights. Like, I don't know how much rights the kids would have after the fact. I'm not familiar enough with that.
that's something we should like look into. I mean, like I said, I watch. Let's get off the subject here, but I watch Different Strokes. Different Strokes is one of my favorite shows, and I just saw a recent interview with Seth Green, talking
Mhm.
about like how the laws were changed for kid actors because of Gary Coleman.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
yeah,
his parent, yeah.
and that's what I'm saying. Like his parents literally did what Jim Bob did, where it's kind of like, hey, sign your life away, and we'll take care of the money. Don't worry, you know.
Right, right. I mean, and that's the story for a lot of kids, that kind of just, and it's not even always about money. Like, did you ever see that documentary that came out with the kid that was the backup dancer for Michael Jackson?
Yes.
And like his parents just signed off on him spending all of this alone time with this grown man, knowing full good goddamn well that it wasn't okay, you know? And like that's the thing is like these parents that do this, like the whole JonBenet Ramsey thing, you know, the most notorious unsolved case or whatever. Like, do you think JonBenet's parents did it?
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, and that obviously that'll be for a true crime podcast. But yeah, it's just these parents that exploit their kids for money. It's so fucking sad. And like, what was it, Heather O'Rourke, the girl whose father killed her?
yeah.
Like, it's just, it's really fucking sad, man. And that's what happened here.
Well, look at also again, not to get a subject here, but like look at Honey Boo Boo.
Yeah.
Like
Oh God.
her
Yeah.
mom fucking literally exploited the fuck, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and then just was like, well, I don't need you anymore, so I'm just gonna have my own show, which nobody needed.
What? Are you talking about how Miss June is not fucking hot?
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
Oh yeah, she's well anyway, I will
Yeah. That's a conversation for another day, man.
Honey Boo Boo. But anyway, yeah, so back to this bad Christian shit.
Yeah. So
well, so the daughter that defected also, I think was she a minor when she signed that thing, or was she already of age?
no, she was already of age because I think they got engaged when she was 17, but got married when she was 18.
Oh, okay. I think that's what it was. But,
yeah.
But from what I hear to this day, they're still not talking to.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like, and there's like because it wasn't just the kids they interviewed. There was like cousins and other families that had followed Jim Bob's teaching. Oh, so I don't think this is going to be a spoiler because it was all over the news. But then one of the sons who, was actually getting into politics based off of these, Christian fundamentalist and Christian nationalist views, was entering politics. And then it turns out he's not a good boy. And it was again all over the news, so I don't think it's spoiling anything, but like he did bad things to his sisters and other teenage girls, and like they covered it up. Like they actively covered it up. And that was, and then they used, that's right, they used their neighbor's daughter as bait, right, to get him to stop misbehaving.
Yes, and then at the end of they sent him to some like church camp or something. Yeah. So and
he never was punished for anything that he did. But in the interviews, like when the sister's talking about it, like it's really fucked up.
Well, yeah, because also didn't they also send the daughters that he allegedly touched? Well, I'm not even gonna say allegedly. This motherfucker touched them. So they sent the daughters on like a press tour, remember, to kind of be like, oh, it's okay, he wasn't, they're trying to control the, I guess the narrative at this point.
The narrative, right, and that he just. Yeah.
And then this is the same fucker that got, again, there's like fucking a bunch of kids. This is the same guy that got caught with the child pornography on his computer, right? Okay, yeah. Yeah. And if I remember also, his father-in-law is a minister for one of these right-wing fucking churches or organizations. Yeah. So they're all connected, dude. They're all
connected. Right. Which is so which is kind of how the second season ties in to the first season. So like the second season isn't anything about the Duggars. However, it does talk about
they do mention the first season though. Remember the
yeah.
it's like, oh, so uh, Jim Bob didn't like the first season. There's whatever remember that girl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The first the first episode they did reference back to
Yeah,
it.
yeah, which I thought was funny, by the way. But
yeah, but so the second season focuses on this teen group that was, you know, an evolution part of, so like when the Duggars and everything came out in like the 90s and all of this, you know, Christian fundamentalism was all the rage. There's this teen group that kind of evolved from it, and which was even more of an insane cult. Um, and so that's kind of how they segued into the second season, which is all about this teen cult called Teen Mania. And I just want to start off before we start going into this and saying, like, there are a lot of elements of this that I could relate to, because I went to Lutheran school till I was in 7th grade. And then they asked me not to come back. I didn't even get kicked out. They just asked me not to come back. And so a lot of the stuff that they talk about in this, like the teen group that they talk about, the people that they talk about, were all very much part of my life during that period of time. So it kind of triggered me a little bit. And my mother, who I'm sure we will talk lots about in various capacities, oh God, that would be amazing if she hears this. Anyways,
you can send her a link.
So my mother, I've been baptized Catholic, Christian, and Lutheran, and my mother was on and off with religion my entire life. And eventually towards like my late teens, 20s, she started like weaponizing it and like all of this stuff. Now she's mentally unwell and like has a different version of reality than everybody else, so that's a whole different conversation. However, in the 90s, when I was going to a Lutheran school in the San Fernando Valley in Van Nuys, and the figures that they talk about in the second season of the series, a lot of them were deeply ingrained into everything that I learned. And like the radio what's the word? Evangelism?
Yeah.
Like the televangelism, like when that was so prevalent, like my mother was addicted to it. And so one person that they talk, and we'll go more into what the show is about, but like one person they talk about a lot is Dr. Dobson, who had a show called Focus on the Family. And my mom listened to that religiously.
No pun intended.
No pun intended. Like literally, like listen to it. And as soon as they mentioned his name, the theme song from that fucking show popped into my head. And for the last week, I haven't been able to get it. And it's just like the first like 5 words where it starts, "It's a new beginning." And that's been on a loop in my fucking head since I started watching it.
Okay, I right now when you sang the first line of that, I pictured Cartman from South Park singing it.
It's a new beginning. Yeah.
Like that episode where he tried to be a Christian singer. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
I love Jesus.
And again, before we start going into this, because I know you're Catholic, well, raised Catholic,
I'm a
and like
recovering Catholic, yes.
super duper Catholic. So I don't know if you got this so much, but in the Christian world, there is this group called the Hour of Power that was part of this whole insanity, right? And it was these like mulleted jock guys, think like American Gladiator, that wore like the wrestling onesies and shit, and they would do these things in the name of God, like lay on a pile of like a bed of nails and have like a concrete brick broken on their fucking abs, right? Or they would have like a whole blocks and blocks of ice and like chop it down the middle and be like, the power of God compels you, like that kind of thing. And like, so watching this second season, as you may have been able to tell by my elevated voice tone, really, really got my head. Because there were parts where the cult that they talk about, this Teen Mania, I was part of it. I mean, I wasn't like in it like that, but like the concepts were there. And I remember wanting to go to these crazy ass fucking revivals or whatever that they had.
See,
So,
and I think that's what it is. It's like, I feel when you're a teenager, you're always looking to fit in.
right.
And I think that's how a lot of these kids are, brought in.
Oh, that's how it was. It was manipulation at its finest. And that's the thing, is like, I came from an abusive home with a mother who was a complete fucking whack job, and nobody believed me because she was nice on the surface and she was this good Christian lady and we went to church. So yeah, like, oh my God, a youth group where I can go and be away from my parents, and like, like they talk about how like the teenagers were running this whole thing, like the pyrotechnics, the sound, the this, the that. Like, who wouldn't want to do that?
So growing up Catholic in Mexico is a lot more graphic and traumatizing than it is here in America. And by that I mean they have like things like events or traditions that are not that would be conceived as fucking crazy, I guess, here in the States. Like for example, there's this thing. I don't remember if it was like during Easter or like Christmas, but there's this little festival thing that they throw where people dress up like fucking little devils, and they chase you around, whipping you with a fucking a piece of rope or a fucking belt or whatever the fuck it is. And some of the churches have statues of like the devil or whatever, and they're just like creepy. As a kid, as like a 5-year-old, 6-year-old kid, these things are fucking creepy, And so yeah, and even the artwork is a lot more graphic.
Graphic, right?
Like I remember going to people's houses and just like the the pictures or statues are very, very just disturbing. Like to a fucking child, you know what I mean? So
Right.
so for like the longest, it was one of those I always associated, religion and just like bad things, kind of thing. It's
Right.
like
Associated with the boogeyman.
kind of like nuns always freak me out because of A Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy's mom was a nun, and after I watched that movie, kind of freaked me out. Nuns freaked me out a little bit, but that's just my thing. And then I remember when I was in high school, I went through this phase where I was trying to figure out the right religion. I was looking for the one and true religion, and I found a friend who was like a Christian, a born again Christian, who had converted from like Muslim to Christianity, and this other guy who was a Jehovah's Witness, and they were seniors. I was a freshman, and I hung out with these guys because we would always debate, religion and shit. And so I could see how something like, how something like this would appeal to a younger audience who's trying to figure out who they are, during their adolescence. You know what I mean? I'm not surprised that they got all these kids to go along for the fucking ride. I guess you know what I mean. Because by the end of the documentary, all these kids were like, "What the fuck, dude? Like you ripped us off and you put us through hell and you abused us and shit for fucking you know."
Yeah, because it evolved. Like it had started as, just any other, super Christian group, or you get like super
Well,
into God and, like,
here. Let me give you this analogy. It started off with Jesus is a friend of mine, and then it ended with fucking I don't know, like fucking what was it, like going through fucking military boot camp. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah, no, it started off with like Jesus is a friend of mine. And then it ended with the devil went back to Georgia. Like,
we're by the end they were bringing in fucking RVs and like, you're warriors of Jesus and you're fighting for God's war, and it's like,
yeah, I remember Battle Cry. So
Battle Cry, yes, the Battle Cry, yes.
And so it started as this group of like this super powerful teen group, and then it like radicalized into politics and all of these other, like, as it often does. And there was even a Charlie Kirk reference there towards the end.
Oh, that's right, there was, yes.
And a January 6th reference and all of the stuff. And the thing is like how they talk about. So, okay, I'm gonna switch gears for a second. So I was watching, I don't know if you know this or not, but Steve from Blue's Clues is now like a certified fucking zaddy and is hot as fuck. And people follow him now, and he has a whole Instagram following. And so, like, I was watching something he said a couple weeks ago where he was like, our attention has become a commodity, and all the things that are coming out now want to see are vying for the way we spend our attention. But our attention isn't infinite. Our attention is limited, so we need to be careful with how we spend our attention. And that made me really think about, like, in general, like, how people pay attention is a commodity, and that's really what they're vying for. And that's when it comes, like, when they tie in radicalized religion to politics, they're thinking about voters, right? And so part of the reason that, like, politicians and stuff were supporting the guy who was leading this insanity was because if they could get these teenagers on board with this by the hordes, then these teenagers are going to vote the way they want them to vote. And that's what it basically boiled down to. It's not about, like, serving God or serving Jesus or any of this shit. It's just about getting people to vote the way they want them to vote at the end of the day.
Right.
And, like, but yeah, the torture and everything that they put these kids through, and, like, the fact that they charge them to be there, it's all about politics and getting our attention for things. And like, but it's crazy because, like, in looking at these videos over the 3 episodes that it is, like, the tens of thousands of kids that are there, like, parents, all these parents were okay with this. Like, not only were they okay with it, but they spent money to send their kids to, like, this weird ass fucking training camp, you know, so that they could be soldiers of God. Oh, and so one thing they talk about, which I guess kind of a spoiler, I mean, but I didn't know, is the tie-in to Columbine. It talks about how that movement like they wouldn't have even been talking about it now if it wasn't for the fact that one of these kids died during Columbine.
Well,
And
yes, but they lied about the way she. Remember, it
yeah,
was that.
they lied. Yes, they lied about the way she died to make her a martyr. And that's what they were talking about, is like that's when these kids came from just like, you know, an Christ Entertainment Inc. or whatever, to becoming martyrs, and like essentially setting these kids up to just be okay with dying for this cause without even knowing who they were. You know, like without knowing themselves, they were just like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but if I die for God, then I'm ready, you know, like in Last Crusade, when they're on the boat and like the guy's like, my soul's prepared, how's yours? Like that kind of shit, you know, like these kids were just like, they used that situation in Columbine to create this martyr that then in turn made, you know, was multiplying martyrs. And like it's crazy. And like I want to see interviews with the parents where the parents like thought this was okay.
Well, I'm pretty sure some of them were hardcore, like the people running it. You know what I mean? Because
And you know, apparently a lot of those. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say because there is a line or a part in the documentary where the girl that exposed them said that she was getting like thank yous from like the parents saying, "Oh, I didn't know this was happening. Now I'm not going to send my kid."
Once
But
she started
one thing that I want to point out here is that, like how you mentioned, like you had to, basically you were paying to be part of this fucking program, and to use, basically you're paying to work for free.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, you were paying to be part of this academy or whatever the fuck you want to call it, but they were making you do like the shit, like everybody, how they said in the documentary, everyone had as a job to do. So like, you know, for all you know, you're paying what, $5,000 or whatever the fuck they charge you to fucking clean toilets. You know what I mean? Like not everybody got the glamour job of being a frontline soldier or whatever. I'm gonna throw a Bible at you. You know.
No, like the one kid who was like, I thought I was going out here to join a mission and go and minister to people, and instead I made tater tots for a year.
Right, exactly. So, and I'm sure there were people that were doing the toilet cleaning, the, you know, maintaining the fucking gardens, or, you know,
right.
Like I'm sure there was people that had shit jobs, and I'm like, so you're paying these people to work?
You know, I just had a thought too, because towards the end,
is that what that burning smell is?
Yes, I also want tater tots now.
I want a burger.
But manwich tots. I digress. I'm hungry. But I just had a thought. So like towards the end there, they just briefly, like 10 seconds, glanced over this doctor talking about how they would drop busloads of kids off to get medical attention. And it's like, at no point did this raise any red flags for these doctors? Or were they paid off?
That's a good question. That is
like, how do the doctors not just be like, this is a little questionable?
Or how about the part where they were talking about, you know, how they dropped them off in the middle of nowhere, and you got to carry this fucking cross.
Carry the crosses. Yeah.
But remember when the cop found them, and she's like, okay, well, I can give you guys a ride, but we're not taking that fucking thing. and the girl starts crying, so they put the cross on top of the cop
And
car.
have to hold the cross on top of the cop car. Yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, so you're breaking the fucking law to make this little fucking girl happy, or like, and wouldn't the cop be like, dude, what is going on at this facility?
Right, and he took him back to the facility. Yeah, that's also a really good point. And like, and then they talked about like, it was funny that the one kid said like, you know, the girl was wondering why people weren't talking to us, and he's like, we're a bunch of white kids in the middle of Oklahoma dragging across. We look like we're on our way to the sheet store.
Yep. Yeah. That was fucking funny. I'm not gonna. Yeah.
It was like, you know what? That's exactly what I would have thought.
Like, dude, I'm surprised they didn't put these kids in like the middle of like, you know, an urban community, you know, with minorities,
Right.
And be like, okay, if you can survive this.
Right. Well, and like I was thinking when they were showing like the videos from the training camps and stuff, I'm like, where's Joe Rogan? Because it's like fucking Fear Factor.
Pretty much, yeah. Yes, because they were eating insects and all that shit. You're right.
Yeah. And like the tunnels that they had to climb through and shit, like, yeah, it was just.
Oh, and can I just say, fuck Joe Rogan.
Oh my god, dude, that makes me so sad. Cause like if I listen to his early stand up, he used to be funny. I used to love Joe Rogan.
Really?
Back in the day.
I never thought I thought he was a funny actor. Like, I remember him from News Radio.
Yeah.
Like he
was
played,
also on Just Shoot Me.
Was he on Just Shoot Me?
He was on a story arc. Yeah.
Okay, because I remember him from News Radio, and he always played the dumb handyman or whatever the fuck he was.
Yeah.
And then after, you know, Phil died, he kind of went to shit. But as far as a stand-up, I never thought he was a funny comedian, but he was a funny actor, you know. But that's just my opinion.
But he went the same way as Adam Carolla for me. Because fuck Adam Carolla.
Yes, fuck Adam Carolla.
Fuck them and their stupid asses.
Yeah, which is, and it's so funny because it's I would have never expected that shit from Adam Carolla, considering his background.
Right. And like, weird 6 degrees of separation here. But I've told you about my old boss, Marty, and his wife. That's like a super like popular interior designer now.
Yeah.
Back when she was still trying to get her acting career going, she was the first female co-host on Adam Carolla's podcast.
Wait a minute. Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't think she was on there for very long, but yeah.
That's actually pretty cool, actually. And you still have their like phone numbers and shit.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Be like, we'd like to have you on our podcast and talk about the shitty Adam Carolla days.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, weird 6 degrees of separation. We should just do that one time. We should play 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Anyways,
we totally should. Okay, my
We've
Adam
gotten way
Adam
off track.
Carolla
This is like, you're
my
gonna have
Adam
to
Carolla
edit so
story.
much out.
This is my Adam Carolla story. We went to the same college.
Did you?
Yeah, he always talks about going to LA Valley College.
I was gonna say Pierce, but yeah, LA Valley.
Valley College in North Hollywood. Pierce.
Yeah.
Oh, Pierce is far away.
It's all the way in Woodland Hill.
Well, although I did take a photography class like before COVID, right before the pandemic, just to network, and it just happened to be at the adult occupational center across the street from Pierce College. So, anyways, back to the
where
racist
cholos
Christians,
learn to not be cholos.
where cholos go to die.
Anyways, okay.
I'm here for my education, eh?
Well, we've really got off the rails on this one. Okay. Um.
I'm gonna blame your ADHD.
Yeah, I still have to pick up my medication.
And
So yeah,
now,
like the crosses and shit, and yeah, it was very weird things that they had to do in the name of God, and like and like the blatant racism, and like when they're showing like them making up tribal videos, and talking about how other tribes are just waiting for them, just waiting to be saved or whatever. Like the audacity.
yeah. See, again, that's one of those stay in your fucking lane. Nobody wants to hear. You know, again, my personal beliefs are there. I believe there is a higher power. I believe there is a God, but I feel that organized religion is all bullshit.
Yes.
You know, I feel that
I am exactly there with you.
I feel that the Bible was meant as more of a guide, if you will. You know, kind of stories to help you with life, like for example,
like
the
fables.
yeah, exactly. You know, like the king,
Parables.
like
Yeah.
King Solomon. You know, cutting the baby in half. That story.
Right.
It's one of those. You know, if you need guidance, this is the fucking book. You know, like
Well, and that's the thing is all of these manuals, regardless of the religion, all of these were written by people, right? Men. And it's told through the perspective of these men. And especially like the amount of times the Bible has been rewritten to reflect whatever whatever values they want to inflict upon people at that time.
exactly. Like for example, like did you know that the word gay didn't appear in the Bible till 1947? There's actually a documentary on this whole thing.
Yeah, no, there's a lot, and see, that's one of my favorite things to do. Like when they're like, "Oh, the Bible says you shouldn't lay with another man," and blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay, well, the Bible also says that you're not supposed to mix your fabrics,
or work on the
so
Sabbath, or you know.
right, right,
So
like
yeah. So this whole cherry picking bullshit is what like really agitates me because it's like, oh well, I have no answer for that. But you're willing to fucking base your whole life on this bullshit, but then you get called out on it. It's like get called out on it. You're like, oh well, I don't know. I don't know what to do.
so.
I don't know what to do with my hands. You know.
Do you watch The Daily Show at all?
I haven't watched it in a while, but yes, we actually started watching it during the election because of Jon Stewart every Monday.
Because Jon Stewart, yeah.
Yes.
So there's a guy that they have that's like their street correspondent that usually goes up to right wing people and
Is it the Asian guy?
no, not Ronnie Chang. His name is Jordan Klemper.
The black kid?
And is a white kid.
Oh.
And he basically goes up to the right wing people and asks them questions that's really making fun of them, but makes it sound like he's asking legitimate questions, right?
I love when they do that. I love when they do that.
So I saw one a few days ago that I was like, how have I never thought of that? But it's these anti-abortion people, and he's talking to this lady who's anti-abortion and everything, and she's talking about how God said not to kill babies, and you couldn't kill babies because of God, and blah 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 blah. And he goes, "Didn't God kill all the firstborn sons?"
Dun dun
And
dun.
she stops and she goes, "I'm not doing this anymore." And I was like, "How have I never thought of that? That's fucking brilliant."
Well, it's funny because I've actually seen that same response or type of interview when from like the Instagram TikTokers, like the political ones,
Uh-huh.
like what's Walter Masterson, is that the one I'm thinking of? Yeah, Walter Masterson is a political Instagrammer, and he does that where he'll go up to people and oh, is it him? Yeah, him. And he'll ask those types of questions, and he'll like be like, "But didn't God do you say this?" And then they'll be like, "Get the fuck out! Get out of my fucking face!" Or I'm not doing this anymore.
Right.
But yeah, Walter Masterson is one of my favorite fucking political comedians.
I may have seen it. I just don't know the name.
Even like that guy that dresses up like the fucking giraffe who just got arrested by ICE, the singing crocodile guy.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I mean, I just love when these people like catch these fucking Republicans.
And yeah.
And be like, so what's like, I would really love to hear your answer. Like, I would really love for you to tell me.
No, I am too. Like, I will. Oh my god! And that's the thing is, I really want to hear your legitimate answer to this, not regurgitated tagline that you saw somewhere, but like your legitimate answer to this, because I'm very strongly pro-choice.
Right.
And and so I have a very compelling argument for it, and I know I do. And so when I see people making these comments online, and I'm like, okay, but what about this? What about this? Okay, so how are you going to handle this? And like, they don't have an answer. I've never gotten from anti-abortion people, because it's not pro-life, because once the baby's born, they don't give a fuck. But like,
right, exactly. Oh,
the
and it's got to be a white baby. It's got to be a white baby.
Right. Well, yeah, and that goes into like eugenics and all that stuff. But anyways, I digress. But yeah, and that's the thing is, like, all of this craziness stems from the Christian fundamentalist views that were talked about in both seasons of the show, tying it back. That the Christian fundamentalism begets Christian nationalism, and that's where any religion that dictates that you should take people's rights away from them.
Well, and that's another thing is this whole talk about how you're a fucking Jesus lover, but you're also like, get the fuck out of my country, where
right
in Leviticus doesn't that say like if you have a foreigner visiting your country to like welcome him as like a neighbor or some shit?
Right. And the like, I was hungry and you fed me. I
right,
was
exactly.
naked and you clothed me, and all of that stuff. Like, yeah, that's the thing is, like, all these ideals that they're pushing, the love thy neighbor, and it's only like, okay, well, love thy neighbor if they look and sound exactly like you. Otherwise, fuck off, neighbor. Like,
exactly. And that's one thing is, like, I know we're probably coming to an end here, but I just want to point out that, like, fucking educate yourself, people. Like, a lot of these right-wing people are just poorly educated. And again, I feel the government wants to have the fucking narrative here, because I feel I've learned a lot more about American history after high school.
1,000%.
I learned that during the American-Mexican War in the 1800s, the Irish, defected from the U.S. Army to help the Mexican side, because they're like,
yep.
Hey, you guys are doing the same thing that fucking England did to us, so fuck you. We're gonna join the Mexican side and live in Mexico, and that's how we get Mexicans that look like Canelo, the fucking boxer and shit. Fucking a white, redheaded Mexican. You know what I mean? So
hello.
so yeah. So I mean, there's so many historical things that were hidden, or from our education. I'm gonna be honest with you. The fact that they taught us the whole Christopher Columbus discovering American bullshit, or the Alamo, like, dude, the real reason behind the Alamo was fucking to keep slavery. It wasn't about keeping America or
Well, and a lot of that. Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to talk. Okay. Well, and I was gonna say, like you were starting to say, is like, look, social media algorithms are meant to keep you siloed. So whether you're left or right or neither, whatever, like whatever your point of view is, your social media algorithms are only going to feed that narrative. You have to actively choose to find information and opinions from other points of view. And that's the only way you're going to learn. That's the only way you're going to educate yourself, is if you're actively trying to educate yourself and not just rely on your For You page to tell you whatever it is about politics, history, whatever. Like, and that's the thing, is like, especially if you're going to be somebody who stands up with a loud opinion, if you're going to spout your opinion, you're going to engage in conversations with your opinion, make sure that it's based in actual reality and not just some bullshit somebody said one time somewhere, you know? Like you were saying, like, I would love to have a conversation with somebody, from the right, who has intelligent responses to my questions and not just a fucking talking sheet, you know? Like, I want to understand why you genuinely feel this. And so,
I agree. I fucking that would be a great segment to do.
right, and I'll respect your opinions as long as it's not based in racism or homophobia or anything like that. But like, if you have legitimate reasons for this stuff, I would love to hear it.
Well, see, and that's the thing though, is like at this point, I'm not gonna try to change nobody's mind, or
Exactly.
because
Exactly.
my neighbor across the street, he's a huge Trump supporter. You know, he was in the military. His dad was a cop. Now, here's the fun part: his sister's a lesbian. So, met his sister. She's fucking great as fuck. Met his sister and his sister's wife, and I know that kind of bugs him. I could, like we could tell, and like, because he's like this hardcore Christian or whatever, and we decided not to talk about politics, because the one time we did talk about politics, I felt like I was like, well, we should probably stop before it gets into a bad area, because he is one of these people that he's not educated, because I brought up the fact that, like, he's like, well, no, they're only arresting the criminals, and I was like, no, they're not, dude. And he's like, well, where'd you hear this from, like CNN or whatever? I'm like, no, I watch the news. I make my decisions on, after I inform myself, and I do some research. And I said, so how, as a veteran, how do you feel about undocumented veterans being shipped or being deported? You know what his answer was? His answer was, well, how do they become veterans if you can't serve in the military without being an American citizen?
Oh Lord.
And I was like, you're kidding me, right? And he's like, no. And I was like, and that right there, I was like, you're not educated. You didn't know this about your own fucking country or your own military? I said, bro, I became a citizen 2 years ago. I turned 18 25 years ago, and I got the fucking the letter as soon as I turned 18 to join the draft. So they don't give a fuck where you come from.
Nope.
You know what I mean? I know someone that joined, that was actually served in the military in Colombia, and moved here and joined the military here, So the fact that this man did not know this, these
Right.
are people that are fucking voting and don't know shit about their own country.
Right.
The same thing with this. Again, I know this is off topic, but it kind of does, it does belong in this conversation, is like the whole Bad Bunny thing. The fact that a lot of people did not know
yeah.
that this motherfucker is a U.S. citizen, because
It's
Puerto Rico,
fucking insane.
right? It's like we're at the point where it's not funny anymore. It's actually kind of scary
Right.
how a lot of
yeah.
right wingers are not educated.
At all. Like, the person that I was telling you about that I was talking to yesterday, and this is why I didn't tell you earlier. is because when we started talking about ICE and in deportations and everything, he said, well, you know, the majority of them committed crimes in Mexico, and that's why they're coming for them now. And I was like, no. I don't know where you're getting your statistics, but no.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah,
And
yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
and like I knew I wasn't gonna change his mind about that, but then I started talking about, okay, let's just say, for shits and giggles, right, that there was somebody that committed a murder in Mexico and came here to America to avoid charges, right? And that person has been living here for however long they've been living here under the radar, and now all of a sudden they decided that this person needs to go back. Does that warrant pulling them out of a car and beating them and all of this shit? Like, by people who don't have a warrant for them, by people who don't have any really real legal authority.
Right. Because I'm sorry, if you come onto my property with your face covered and a gun,
Right.
I'm not gonna like be like, oh, please get off my. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna shoot first and ask questions later.
Right. And like that's what, I don't know if you saw, but they tried to go after the Latin, like go up against Latin Kings in Chicago. That shit didn't go.
Yeah, I saw that. Those videos where like ICE is like getting their fucking tires slashed and all that shit. I love that shit.
Yeah, and like it's funny. I don't know if you saw, but there was this whole thing because they had ICE recruitment ads on Spotify.
Yep.
And so there's this whole movement to ask for those to be removed because it's an artist space, you know?
And he said no.
And like I have ad-free Spotify, so I didn't even know that was happening.
Same here.
But it kind of reminds me, I remember having this moment when I was living in Lancaster and I was at the Dollar Movie Theater. And I don't remember what movie it was that I was seeing.
The Dollar Movie Theater across from Walmart?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't remember what movie I was seeing, but all of a sudden a Three Doors Down song comes on, and it's a military recruitment video. And I was just like, this is manipulation to the highest degree. And I was like, why is this happening right now? And like, especially like the videos where it's like, well, you could join the military and just play video games all day, you know?
Oh my god, I remember that one. Yes, and they're trying to. It's a video game. Well, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, what? And it's that same kind of, yeah. It just, I hate it here.
No, yeah, I told my my kid, I was like, if anything ever happens and you're drafted, you know, God forbid, I'm like, there's over my dead fucking body will you fucking join the military under this piece of shit, you know? As a matter of fact, I told him, I said, you know, under Mexican law, since you are my kid, you can apply for dual citizenship in Mexico, you know? And all my kids need is my birth certificate and them to make an appointment at the Mexican consulate and try to get dual citizenship, you know? So if this place ever burns to hell, we at least have a backup and shit.
All right.
But I think we've reached the end of our podcast. I feel we've informed you guys with all the right stuff, if you will. Go again, send us emails, messages, topics you want us to talk about, your weird stories. You can catch us on YouTube as well. This will be on Spotify and YouTube for the moment. You can hit me up at my my photography page, Zombie Torres Photography 13 at Instagram, obviously, and then you can hit up or find us on Instagram at either
No Rest for the Twisted.
or Zombie and Jelly Bean. I forgot which I put, but yeah, one of those. You'll figure it out. And plus, I think our information is on the Spotify thing anyway. But yes, you found us, and yeah, follow us. Do you want to give any of your handles out?
Not at this time, thank you.
Okay, so her phone number is 81. Well, I guess you can hit message us both at the on the Instagram page. No Rest for the Twisted or Jelly Bean and Zombie. I forgot which one it was. I'm drawing a blank here. It was a long night. And I guess we'll see you next week.
Toodaloo, buckaroos.
Well, folks, that's the way it really happened.
And sterilized so you get nothing. You lose. Good day, sir.
That's all, folks. Feet on the wheel. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. So
Bye-bye.